Today's top picks with Reuters breaking views. Long live gloom, say our commentators. It's a great time to buy shares. But stock up also on gold, canned food and shotgun shells, a portfolio for the paranoid possibly. With me is Reuters breaking views assistant editor Robert Cole. Robert, thanks for joining us. We're covering pretty much all of the bases today. Let's start with the optimistic view before we go to the pessimistic. And great time to buy stocks.
Well, that's my view. I sometimes feel like I'm the only remaining bull in town, but it does seem to me to be one of the features of the last couple of years that if you have a suitably long-term view and you do think that at least to some extent history is going to repeat itself, now is the time to be filling your boots with equities. They are cheap as chips, and that we may be looking back in 5 years' time and all of us scratching our heads and say, oh my goodness, if only we'd done that. Now, I'm no seer, I can't guarantee that's going to happen, but with the help of a calculator we've developed, which is just going live now, readers, listeners, viewers can make their own decisions actually. I don't know if we can see that here now, yes, but you've got... It's a movable feast, isn't it? So it's a movable thing, so we'll start at the top there and you can move that if you like, but the default there is what the S&P 500 is trading at right now, so you move that to 11, say, which is what it is now, but you can move that to start off, you know, what your price earnings ratio is now. You can then leave that there. You can then alter your earnings growth rate because clearly the E in the PE is a growth rate, and we go down to -5, and if all the other assumptions are as they're set, you can see that you go into a minus figure there.
And you're starting with a base rate of $1,000 effectively.
Starting with sort of a nominal $1,000. This does take into account, this model here does take into account a bit of dividend growth and also make some assumptions about inflation, which if you dig a bit further in, you can actually change those bits as well. But the front end here, you also look at the investment period, and clearly that makes a difference, and the exit PE. But the thing I'm trying to really point out is the difference between the PE now on the S&P 500, which is 11, and the average PE over the last 25 years on a comparable basis, which is 15. And if you put all the other things at a relatively kind of modest sort of number, 5% earnings growth, which might look quite punchy for next year, but I don't think is too punchy for a 5-year period, you get a pretty handsome level of growth. But as I say, you can make up your own mind, and with this calculator, you know, see where you think where you are. But I think the numbers tell us that this is a good time to be buying shares in accumulating stock. Yeah.
Okay. So our viewers, as you say, can play with that calculator on the breaking views on the Reuters website. That's the positive side of things. Let's just flip the coin now and stock up on gold, tinned food, and shotgun shells. I like the last one in particular. What's the scenario here?
I wanted to be too macabre, but yeah, Wayne Arnold, our correspondent in Hong Kong, has taken a rather different view and has sort of said, well, you know, let's assume that the absolute worst does actually happen, and you know, societies fall apart and monetary systems are devalued to the point of being useless. And his bottom line is that actually the only assets worth their salt are ones that you can carry in a suitcase. And yeah, I mean, we're having, you know, we're being, you know, sort of purposefully kind of dark with that, and don't want people to take it too seriously. But I think there is a point here that, you know, if you are very worried about the way that the world might go in 2012, you know, financial assets, and that includes shares and bonds and you know, paper assets, are the ones to go nowhere near, and real hard assets are the ones to have. And that is, yeah, gold, obviously. That's food. Shotgun shells, yeah, well, perhaps you need it to protect yourself. I'd like to think actually that, you know, you need the shotgun to go out and do some foraging for yourself. But again, slightly more seriously, you know, real assets in terms of property, I think, is one. You know, either built property or indeed agricultural land would be good ones to have. And, you know, just to go back full circle and to end on a slightly brighter point. I think, having said all that stuff about paper assets and equities, I think up to a point equities are real, or more real than a lot of paper financial assets, because at least you have a stake in a company which is based in the real world. So if you're not quite as gloomy as Wayne, perhaps you'll give my equity bullishness another thought.
We play with a calculator, and we don't at the moment have to put our camouflage paint on and get the shotgun out and go hunting. Okay, thank you very much indeed for that. As I say, my thanks to Robert Cole, Reuters Breaking Views assistant editor. For more commentary, join us for Breaking Views from Europe each weekday at 10:30 GMT. I'm Nigel Stevenson. This is Reuters.